Let's get started. Number 6. Fixing things. A broken chair used to be a problem. Now it is apparently an opportunity to buy a new chair. Older adults often learned basic repair skills because replacing everything wasn't always easy or affordable. They repaired furniture, tightened loose screws, fixed leaky faucets, patched household items, sharpened tools, and figured out why something wasn't working. And sometimes the answer was simply, hit it. Not scientifically, just emotionally. Basic repair requires a particular kind of thinking. Observe the problem, identify what changed, understand how the parts interact, and experiment until something works. That's essentially practical problem solving. You don't need to be an engineer. You just need enough curiosity to take something apart without immediately creating 6 new problems. Modern products have made this harder in some ways. Many devices are sealed, glued together, filled with tiny components, or designed in ways that make repair difficult. But there's also a cultural shift. We've become accustomed to replacement. A cracked screen, new phone. Broken appliance, new appliance. Wobbly table, new table. The funny part is that repairing something gives you a deeper understanding of how the physical world works. You learn that objects aren't magical. They are systems made from parts. A screw comes loose. A wire disconnects. A seal wears out. A hinge bends. The object isn't cursed. It just needs someone willing to investigate. Unfortunately, modern humanity has developed a highly advanced repair technique. Search online for the price of a replacement. Number 5. Mental arithmetic. Imagine going into a store, buying 3 things, and having to calculate the total without a calculator. Terrifying. Your brain suddenly starts sweating. There was a time when adults regularly performed everyday calculations in their heads. They estimated prices, calculated change, divided bills, converted measurements, and figured out percentages without immediately reaching for a phone. It wasn't because everyone was secretly a mathematical genius. They simply practiced. Mental arithmetic is one of those abilities that strengthens through repeated use. When you regularly calculate numbers, your brain becomes better at holding and manipulating them in working memory. But modern technology has made calculation almost completely effortless. Need to split a $47 bill between 3 people? Calculator. Want to know 15% of $80? Calculator. Trying to figure out whether buying 5 tiny bottles is cheaper than 1 giant bottle? Calculator. Eventually, your brain starts treating arithmetic like an extinct species. And this isn't necessarily bad. Tools exist to make life easier. Nobody needs to calculate square roots by candlelight just to prove they're intelligent. But there is a difference between using a tool because it's convenient and being completely helpless without it. Mental math also gives you a rough internal sense of numbers. You can immediately recognize when something sounds suspicious. If a cashier tells you that $20 plus $30 equals $70, your brain should ideally raise an eyebrow. Without basic number sense, however, you may simply nod, pay, and walk away wondering why your bank account keeps disappearing. Technology gave us calculators. Unfortunately, it also gave some of us calculator dependency. Number 4. Remembering phone numbers. Your brain once contained an entire address book. Now it struggles to remember its own phone number. People used to memorize dozens of telephone numbers because there was no convenient little contact list holding everyone's information. If you wanted to call someone, you had to actually remember their number. And if you didn't, you were basically cut off from civilization. This forced your brain to practice memorization constantly. Repetition strengthens memory pathways, especially when information is repeatedly retrieved rather than simply looked up. Today, your phone remembers everything. Your friend's number, your dentist's number, your workplace, your parents, that person you met once at a party in 2019 and somehow still have saved as Mike. The problem isn't that technology destroyed human memory. It's that we have become extremely selective about what we bother remembering. Psychologists sometimes call this kind of behavior cognitive offloading. You move information from your brain into the environment or a device, so your brain doesn't have to hold it. And honestly, it's brilliant. Why waste mental energy memorizing a 10-digit number when your phone can do it instantly? But there is a catch. The less often you retrieve information yourself, the less likely you are to retain it. Your brain basically says, "Oh, we're outsourcing this? Wonderful." Deleting local copy. So now, when your phone dies, you may discover something horrifying. You technically know hundreds of people. You just don't know how to contact any of them. Number 3. Reading a paper map. Picture this. You're standing at a gas station, a giant folded paper the size of a beach towel flapping in the wind, and somehow you're supposed to figure out where you are, using nothing but little squiggly lines and the sheer will to survive. That used to be a normal Tuesday. People could fold these things back into their original shape too, which honestly might be the lost skill, not the navigation part. Your brain used to build actual mental maps, spatial models stitched together from landmarks, directions, and a weird internal compass most people don't even know they have anymore. Neuroscientists call this cognitive mapping, and it lived mainly in your hippocampus, the same brain region responsible for memory. Every time you used a GPS instead, you basically told that region to take a nap. Studies on London cabbies, who memorized the city's entire tangled street layout, found their hippocampus was physically larger than average. Meanwhile, modern brains, running on turn-by-turn voice directions, show measurably weaker spatial memory the more they rely on it. You're not directionally challenged, you're just outsourcing your internal GPS to a satellite. Basically, humanity traded an entire brain region for the ability to never make eye contact with a stranger, to ask for directions. Number 2. Starting a fire without a lighter. Somewhere in your ancestry, someone could rub 2 sticks together, coax a spark out of flint, or build a controlled blaze using nothing but patience and dry leaves. You, meanwhile, struggle with a lighter in zero wind. This skill required understanding friction, oxygen, kindling structure, basically a whole intuitive physics lesson passed down through practice, not textbooks. It's what researchers call embodied knowledge, information your body learns through repetition rather than facts you memorize. Modern life replaced that entire process with a single click, so the intricate, trial and error understanding of combustion just quietly evaporated across a couple generations. It's not that fire got easier to make, it's that we stopped needing to understand it to use it. Basically, your ancestors could summon fire from nature itself, and you once set off a smoke alarm trying to make toast. Number 1. Handwriting in cursive. Somewhere between 3rd grade and adulthood, cursive quietly slipped out the back door, and nobody chased after it. You probably still have the muscle memory for your signature and absolutely nothing else, so your John Hancock is basically a caffeinated scribble that only sort of resembles your name. This one's a fine motor skill loss wrapped inside a bigger cognitive shift, because forming connected, flowing letters actually engages different neural pathways than printing does or typing does. Cursive forces your brain to plan ahead, since one letter physically connects to the next, which is basically a workout for the same motor planning circuits used in complex hand tasks generally. Kids who learn cursive show different, sometimes stronger, brain activation patterns during reading and writing tasks compared to kids who only ever typed. But schools dropped it because, let's be honest, keyboards run the world now, and nobody's out here submitting a resume in looping calligraphy. The skill didn't die because it was useless, it died because efficiency won, like it always does. Basically, your hand still knows the moves, it's just been benched for a sport nobody plays anymore. That's all for today's video. If you enjoyed it, be sure to subscribe.